Sam is sent to the office again. Since he moved in with Grandma, his temper is thin. Mrs. Carter brings him a cookie. His face says, "Is that for me?" His first smile of the day is hers for free. Most hear sharp barbs every day. A kind word is an easy thing to say when you're aligned with the divine. Kindness is a gift both ways. A gift both ways. Kindness is a gift both ways. Betty locked herself out again. Charlie waits for her cussing to end. He asked her in for some herbal tea and hands her that extra front door key. Her first smile of the day is his for free. Most hear sharp barbs every day. A kind word is an easy thing to say when you're aligned with the divine. Kindness is a gift both ways. A gift both ways. Kindness is a gift both ways. My day had gone down to the bottom of the well. I was making myself a living hell. Then I jump-started my neighbor's car. Now my day is great so far. His first smile of the day is mine for free. Most hear sharp barbs every day. A kind word is an easy thing to say when you're aligned with the divine. Kindness is a gift both ways. A gift both ways. Kindness is a gift both ways.
Thank you, David. And thank you for welcoming David back. He was here with us 2 weeks ago. As most of you know, we normally have live musicians, but we had the opportunity to bring David with us from Kansas City. So welcome again, David. We're really thrilled to have you with us. And the opening song David wrote especially for us about kindness, because that's our theme today. So thank you for that creative inspiration, David. And welcome, everyone. Everyone here in the room, those of you I haven't seen in a while who have been here, who are here, and those of you who are new to our community, here for the first time, and that includes those of you joining us by Zoom today with Renee and Reverend Ken. We're happy that you're here. Got my wrong notes. There's a couple of things I just wanted to mention, not forget. Yes, so, don't want to trip. Today is a day of remembrance as well, because a year ago today, on November 9th, Reverend Marlene transitioned into her eternal life. So it was a year ago. And for those of you who did not know her, she was a minister here at CCL, and she was very much a part of the ministry and making things happen here in so many levels. So we're still missing her. And for those of you who want to come here next week, which I hope you will, we're having a Taizé service in her honor. So please join us, and we'll tell you more about that in the announcements. But Marlene created the Taizé service here at CCL. So we're doing a special service, and Ginger created this service, so it'll be a wonderful day. So I hope you'll be able to be here next week. And just one more thing. In talking about kindness, Thursday is World Kindness Day, and the theme is to remember to be kind to others and to perform random acts of kindness, right? So I think of random acts of kindness as, situations that just appear in our life that give us the opportunity to be kind to others. So that's one level of kindness. And today we'll be talking about taking that even a little deeper, because I think there's a dimensional aspect to kindness that is very spiritual and very deep. And I want to talk about that today because it really has to do with the way we are in the world and the way we are being. So that's our theme today. So thank you for being here. And would you like to just...
If you will repeat after me, I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and peace.
Open my heart to the universe, accepting love and peace.
I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and joy.
I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and joy.
I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and abundance.
I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and abundance.
I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and complete health.
I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and complete health.
And so it is.
And so it is. So I see that most of you are sitting there with your eyes closed, and I invite you to just stay right where you are. And we'll go into prayer knowing that the divine is all and it is everything. It is in us, it is through us, it is around us, and it expresses as us every nanosecond of our life. We are expressions of that divine radiant force that is ever present. It is all-knowing. That is peace, that is love, that is all of the higher emotions of gratitude and kindness as well. And we know that this service today flows in beautiful expression of that love, of that kindness that is radiating forth right here and right now from within each one of us. And we hold that awareness. We hold that awareness as we move into the next moment and the next moment and the next. And in that consciousness, we express deep gratitude and appreciation, first of all, for that divinity within ourselves, and secondly, for that same presence within each other. That is our community, the Center for Conscious Living. And in this deep gratitude and appreciation, please join with me in saying thank you, and so it is.
Ready for the next song? Okay, this is Hope at My Door. Hope came to my door, she didn't ring the bell. I didn't let her in, didn't feel that well. My house was such a mess, and there I was, half dressed. I must confess, I wasn't ready when hope came to my door. Hope came to my door, I checked the locks. What was she doing there? Even opportunity knocks. Should I ask her why she came? Am I just going insane? I simply can't explain how hope came to my door. When you find yourself at the end of your rope, it's hard to open the door to hope. Open the door, open the door, open the door to hope. Hope's coat was wrapped against the chill. I felt a little bad, should I show some goodwill? But what could I bring? Some warm, sweet offering. I could bake something, a batch of cookies for hope at my door. When you find yourself at the end of your rope, it's hard to open the door to hope. Open the door, open the door, open the door to hope. So I brought them outside, a warm plate in Hope's hand. Her surprise helped me find my laugh again. She said, we have enough to share. Your neighbors next door are there. I found myself at their door. Their smiles returned once more, with chocolate chip cookies and hope at their door. When you find yourself at the end of your rope, it's hard to open the door to hope. Open the door, open the door, open the door to hope. I finally let hope in, light filled the room. We cleaned up the place, hope wields a wicked broom. Now we're helping folks listen to our chocolate chip mission. This vision keeps us making the rounds. I'm sure glad that hope came around. When you find yourself at the end of your rope, it's hard to open the door to hope. Open the door, open the door, open the door to hope.
That was fun. Today's inspirational reading is entitled The Purpose of Life is to Be Happy. It's by His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. The basic source of all happiness is a sense of kindness and warm-heartedness toward others. We are all the same as human beings. We are born the same way, we die the same way, and we all want to lead happy lives. The key to happiness is peace of mind. This is not something that can be bought. Inner peace has to be cultivated by each of us from within. All our religious traditions, despite whatever philosophical difference there may be among them, carry the same message of love and warm-heartedness that is the foundation of such peace of mind. I sometimes wish that we were more like children, who are naturally open and accepting of others. Instead, as we grow up, we fail to nurture our natural potential and our sense of fundamental human values. We get caught up in secondary differences and tend to think in terms of us and them. Education can change this. We need to learn to distinguish the destructive nature of emotions like anger, fear, and attachment, which disturb our peace of mind, from the positive qualities of compassion that are genuine sources of happiness. I often ask myself what the purpose of life is. I conclude that it is to be happy. We have no guarantee of what will happen in the future, but we live in hope, which is what keeps us going. There is sometimes insufficient understanding of the difference between sensory consciousness and mental consciousness. The ultimate source of happiness is a mental feeling of joy and not a wealth of material goods. The sensory pleasure material things brings us is short-lived. Such satisfaction does little to allay anxiety and fear. On the other hand, mental joy sustains itself. Nowadays, scientists, too, agree that our basic human nature is compassionate and warm-hearted because that is the way our lives begin. Without our mother's love and affection, we would not have survived. Since we depend on other human beings for our own happiness, it's natural to feel warm-hearted towards them. Human beings are responsive. No matter how beautiful a flower may be, it won't react to my smile. But if I smile at another human being, he or she generally smiles in return, and even animals react positively. Today, the world is mostly focused on external development. However, ancient Indian traditions emphasize looking within to find the real source of joy. To be happy, it is our minds we must transform. This is the basis of the long-standing traditions of ahimsa, doing no harm, and karuna, wishing others to be free from suffering. Compassion, an active concern for others' well-being, is not only part of religion, it also belongs to our lives as human beings. From compassion, we develop self-confidence. That brings inner strength, allowing us to act with transparency and candor. If a person is happier, his or her family is happier. If families are happy, neighborhoods and nations will be happy. By each of us working to transform ourselves, we can change our human way of life and make this a century of compassion. We must continually consider the oneness of humanity, remembering that we all want to be happy. And indeed, everyone has a right to a happy life. Along the way, we may be faced with problems, but we must not lose hope. We must keep up our determination without being impatient to achieve quick results. If you agree with anything I have written here, I hope you will follow it up in your day-to-day lives. As I have said before, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion.
I'm looking for the affirmation, and I already lost it. Oh, it's here. Yeah, I wrote my welcome notes on the other side of it. So, as many of you know, after the reading, we like to affirm the essential message of the reading, and affirmation is one of the spiritual practices we do here at CCL to really connect with the divine and affirm the divinity within ourselves and the truth of our being and how we want to be in the world. So please repeat after me. Do I have this on? Yeah, I do. Okay. I practice compassion.
I practice compassion.
I am warm-hearted toward others.
I am warm-hearted towards others.
I am happy.
I am happy.
I wish for others to be happy.
I wish for others to be happy.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
I don't buy it when people say human nature can't be changed. When I see someone acting mean, it just seems strange. I've seen perfect strangers eager to be kind. It gives me hope for humankind. Oh, we can lay down our fear. Oh, we can shake hands with anyone. Oh, we can find out what everyone needs. We can find our way back to peace. Yes, violence sparks violence. Hate invites hate. Meanness brings out meanness. Oh, until it's too late. But a closed fist will open if we only lend a hand. Sometimes we just have to listen to understand. Oh, we can lay down our fear. Oh, we can shake hands with anyone. Oh, we can find out what everyone needs. We can find our way back to peace. We can find our way. We can find our way. We can find our way back to peace. We can find our way. We can find our way. We can find our way back to peace. We can find our way. We can find our way. We can find our way back to peace. We can find our way. We can find our way. We can find our way back to peace.
Thank you, David. That's what kindness is all about, really, finding our way back to peace. Because it's really hard to be kind if we're not peaceful within ourselves, right? So one of the messages of the Dalai Lama's reading was to cultivate kindness in our own heart, right? I don't like standing there, but I want to read from my notes. So I'm going to come here and read from my notes. Because I don't want to forget some of the things that are really important for me to say today. So that's the deeper level of kindness. It's really easy, to do random acts of kindness, to hold a door open for someone on the spur of the moment, or to let someone pass in a car or on a walkway, and the various things that we all do when we're feeling kindly in general. But there is a deeper level to it. Like how do we be kindness and actually express it in the world on a continuous basis? It's a matter of consciousness, and it's a matter of being really heart-centered. So that's what I want to talk about today. And I do want to talk about how we can cultivate that, because it's really important to to have a practice, have a spiritual practice for how we can be kind to ourselves and kind to each other and kind just to the world in general. And if we could all do that, wouldn't the world be a different place? and all of the crazy things that we're seeing in the news, maybe they wouldn't be happening, right? It starts with us. So one of the things I notice sometimes just in my daily life is when patterns start showing up. And I noticed a particular pattern about a week ago. And we're all familiar with that when we start seeing the same kind of thing all the time, repeating numbers and the like, or repeating messages. And I started seeing a pattern of reflections. So I noticed it on a TV program I was watching. There's a castle, and the reflection of the castle was right below it. So, top and bottom, it was reflected. And I thought, that's interesting. I never noticed that before because it's a cereal. Serial, not edible, and and I just noticed it, right? Well, I wonder why that's there, and I really don't know. And I finally realized it was there for me because I noticed it in other places. Yesterday, I went to a workshop, and there's an underlying philosophy to what was happening in the workshop, and it's based on a book called, what's the name of the book? Oh, Open to Outcome, okay? So the word outcome was in the middle of the title, and open to circled it, sort of like an arc on the top of it, but below it also circled it. So that was another pattern, another reflection, so open to. And it made me think about being open, which we talk about a lot here. And Ernest Holmes talked about that, right? Open at the top, right? Being open to the divine, inspiration, guidance coming in us and through us, expressing as us. So I noticed that yesterday, actually last night. And it made me think of something that I worked on years and years ago when I was doing my master's thesis. I did it in biology, and it made me think of that because I was studying reflections, and I never thought of it that way. But what I was doing is I was working with protozoa, and many of you think of protozoa as amoeba. And what does an amoeba look like? It looks like a blob, right? I mean, we all know that, right? But there are other kinds of protozoa that have patterning on their surface, like they have a mouth that's in a certain place, and they have other structures on them that are in a certain pattern, and we can look at it and say, oh, that's a such and such. In my case, I was working with something called Stylonychia, but it's similar to a paramecium, if any of you have heard of that, a common laboratory animal protozoa. So I was studying patterning. How does that happen? And what I did is I did these experiments. So I took these protozoa, which they're here in ponds. We can go and collect them. I used to collect them and bring them into the laboratory, and we would feed them in the culture dish. And then when I wanted to do an experiment on them, because I didn't want to experiment on live animals like mammals, but I was okay with the protozoa. So I would take some of them and put them in a gel under a microscope, and I would actually make a micro needle out of a glass pipette. I would heat it over a Bunsen burner and stretch it out and create a needle, and under the microscope I would cut the Stylonychia, the protozoa. I would just cut it top to bottom. And then I would put them back in the culture and let them regenerate, because many biological systems, including within our own, regenerate, like our skin regenerates if we get a wound, and so on. So many of the things that happens is all of these abnormal shapes and patterns on the surface would result from the regenerative process. And most of them were not able to survive. If I put them back in the pond, they wouldn't have been able to survive. But one of them that showed up was a mirror-imaged doublet. So again, reflection, it's made me think of that. It was actually the basis of my master's thesis, because the protozoa actually regenerated a mirror image of itself all in the same cell. These are one-celled organisms. So it had a mouth on the left side, and it had a mirror image mouth on the right side. And we called it a mirror image doublet. And so that was just happening, and it was actually a very significant discovery in the scientific world, in developmental biology, which I don't need to go into here. But what is important is the idea of reflections and where that led me to, because I started thinking about when I was writing my master's thesis, and I came across a plant biologist and a biochemist named Rupert Sheldrake. Okay, June knows Rupert Sheldrake. He's actually quite famous, and he's a published scientist. He was a fellow at Harvard University. He was also a fellow at Cambridge University. He's in the United States now, and he actually is with the Noetic Institute and with the Schumacher Institute, if you know what that is. But he developed, this is where I need to look at my notes because I want to make sure I get the language correct. And trust me that this will come back to kindness, okay? He talked about collective memory, that organisms have collective memory. And then he said that this memory is a telepathy-type interconnection between organisms. All right, so I was like in my 20s doing this work. I had no idea really what he was talking about, but today I read that and it makes me think of the zero-point field, right? Infinite possibilities, God, oneness, unity, everything Ernest Holmes talks about, everything Jesus talked about, all of our masters, right? The Eastern mystics, this field out there, and he called it morphic resonance. Now, resonance is it has to do with vibrations, right? So things resonate, and they can resonate in tandem with each other, and when that happens, we have peace and harmony, right? Or they can resonate out of sync with each other, and then we have disturbance, all right? And if our bodies are out of resonance, we get disease. That's what happens, right? If our minds are out of resonance, if they're not coherent, they're not peaceful, right? We're in anxiety, we're in fear. How many of us know what that feels like? How many of us wake up in the morning and turn the news on, and where does our mind go? And where do our feelings go, right? I don't try not to watch the news. I read the headlines, but because I need to know what's going on, but I don't want to get too invested in it, because next week, a lot of it will be different. It keeps changing. And it's there's a focus on things that aren't positive, right? And they generate fear in us. And a lot of it's unnecessary. But we do walk around with a lot of anxiety in our heart, don't we? In our body, in our mind. So anyway, the whole point of this is just, I noticed these patterns, and yesterday when I saw Open to Outcomes and I started thinking about the work I did years ago, before I thought of myself as a spiritual person. I wasn't reading spiritual works, wasn't doing anything like that. I was just trying to do what I was doing in the world as we normally do. And I realize now, looking back on it, I really was doing this work, because I was gravitating to this fellow called Rupert Sheldrake, and I can tell you that he's not accepted in the mainstream community, as you can imagine. He's very much like Bruce Lipton, who wrote The Biology of Belief, right? I mean, they're bona fide scientists, they're published in the scientific literature, but a lot of their work, through their postulation, mainstream science doesn't accept that there's vibrational energy out there, right? And that there's oneness and unity. So in talking, one of the things that Rupert Sheldrake said is he started talking about consciousness. And so this is going way back, and he said that there is an existence of consciousness outside of our brains. So we think of mind in our brain, right? But it's actually more comprehensive than that. And he was talking about it being ubiquitous, being everywhere and everything. And that's what we believe here in religious science, right? That's what Ernest Holmes taught. Another thing that I've been reading about lately is about the heart. And I've been reading about research from the HeartMath Institute. Some of you are aware of HeartMath, especially if you've worked with Kathy Milano, right? But they're a very well-known organization, and they do a lot of research on the place that the heart has in terms of our well-being, our physical well-being, and also in terms of our awareness, consciousness, right? So the thing about the heart is that the heart has its own independent nervous system. I mean, think about that. We think that the brain is everything, but it's really not. It starts with the heart, and the heart actually informs the brain, right? So there are nerves that connect from our heart and tell our brain how to think and how to feel, right? And then emotions are created in our brain, and it goes back in our body. It's really, our bodies are a looped system between our thoughts and our emotions. And when something's happening out in the world, our heart reacts. Right? So if we feel threatened by anything, by a tiger or a cougar or the latest headline in the news, whatever it is, our heart reacts, and it's not peaceful. So it goes out of synchrony. All right? It's not coherent. The heartbeats are not, they're not peaceful. Let's put it that way. So our body's not peaceful. So in terms of bringing this back to kindness now, and what I'm saying is that if we want to be kind people, we need to hold kindness in our heart. And how do we do that? We need to be peaceful. It's really hard to be kind to anyone if we're walking around afraid and scared or worried and anxious, just because we're not thinking about it. We're into our survival emotions of fight or flight, or let me just, ignore all this and try to. Whatever we're thinking and feeling, it's hard to be kind because we're worried about just our well-being, right? So in terms of kindness, how can I nurture kindness, which is what the Dalai Lama was talking about. And he was talking about it being a mental activity. And his article was written a few years ago, quite a number of years ago. And he was talking about it being mental. So mental, we think of our thoughts, right? What I'm saying is that it's more than our thoughts. It's also our heart, right? Because if we have a synchronous, coherent heart, it informs our thoughts in our brain. And then we have a peaceful, coherent thought process. And that, in turn, loops back to our emotions, which are in our body. And we can be peaceful, and we can actually be in love instead of in anxiety or fear. So there are many ways that we can cultivate peace within ourselves. But one of the ways I want to practice right now, because it's a very, very simple meditative practice, and we can do it in 5 minutes, and it really brings us into peace. And if we can walk around the world in peace in our everyday lives, and if we can remind ourselves to be peaceful, we can affect that morphic field, which is everywhere, all right? Because we have an energy field around us. We actually have one within us, and we think of it as the aura, but it goes beyond that. And that's how we can affect each other, right? Just by our energy. And it makes me think of, have any of you ever tried to do affirmations and they actually didn't work? Yeah. That happened to me. When I took foundations class, I was practicing affirmations, and I didn't understand why nothing was happening. Like, why didn't my life change? Because the teaching seemed to say that my life would change, but it didn't. And what I've discovered now is that I was not in harmony with what I was affirming. Right? I didn't believe within myself. I don't remember what I was praying for at the time. Let's say it was abundance. I don't know. So my financial life didn't change, if that's what it was. Right? It kept saying the same. I kept having these challenges that I was having, and I was praying and affirming that that's not the truth of my being, that I am this infinitely abundant soul. Right? But it wasn't manifesting in my life that way. Now I know that an affirmation is really from the heart, and it is within the mental consciousness and within that closed loop of mind, body, feelings, thoughts, emotions, frequency, coherence in the heart, coherence in our thoughts, in our brain waves. And when we are in that place of peace and love, which is what that is, in the physical way, when we are in that place, then we can be kind to ourselves and we can be kind to everyone around us. You know, I think of Jesus' words. Above all else, honor thy father. Right? He was saying, God is everything. Recognize that, affirm that, know it at every level of your being. Right? That was the most important thing. Secondly, love thy neighbor as thyself. So there's two pieces to that. We need to love ourselves first. So what we're talking about here in kindness is we can't be kind and we can't love other people until we love ourselves, which I'm saying here right now that a big piece of loving ourselves is not only thinking about loving ourselves, but practicing it at a very visceral level, with our heart being peaceful, with our thoughts being peaceful, through daily spiritual practices. And they can be simple practices that take a few minutes, and then we can remind ourselves throughout the day. So in terms of loving thy neighbor, that's loving thyself. How do we love thy neighbor? If we are in that place, we can radiate through the morphic field or the 0-point field or the field of infinite potential. It's all God, right? Because God is everything. Once we are in that place of peace in our heart, in our mind, in our physical being, mentally, emotionally, every energetic level of our being, once we are there, we radiate that out to everyone. And there is nothing but kindness then, because there's nothing but love, right? We are in a place of love. We have moved out of anxiety, out of fear, out of whatever it is we're feeling, depression, sadness, grief, and we move into a place of love. Love is where, another word for love is compassion, kindness, gratitude. These are all the higher frequency emotions that if we are in that place, we're vibrating it out into the field and it affects other people. And that's how we change the world. Right? It really is. And I really think we can't change anything until we change ourselves. And it's so easy to do. It takes a few minutes. So we're going to do that right now. And we're going to just do a little heart math meditation, which is a meditation that I actually found in a Joe Dispenza book, because he connects partners with Heart Math, the Heart Math Institute. And we're going to connect in our heart, okay? And then we're going to create an intention for kindness for all beings, all right? What does that sound like? It sounds like the Buddhist meditation of metta, doesn't it? Right? Sending out waves of kindness. So let's do that now. Let's do what we often do when we start a meditation, is just close our eyes, right? And feel our body seated in the chair, our feet grounded to the floor, knowing that we're grounded through the building, through the foundation of this building, to Mother Earth. Right? And we'll just start taking some soft breaths, easy, gentle. Just notice our breath. Know its peace, know its love. And know that the breath is a connection with divine love, right, within us. And continue to hold the awareness of our body, just being where it is, in time and in space, and noticing our breath. Take 1 or 2 more breaths. Now I want you to bring your awareness to your heart. Right, just pay attention to your heart and to the whole area around your heart. I call this the heart space. And just notice what's happening there. Just don't do anything, don't change anything. Just have awareness there. And continue to breathe as you hold your awareness in your heart. And notice what's happening there. Are any vibrations of anxiety coming up? Any feelings of discordancy or lack of peace? Just notice. And as you notice, also take note of any changes that you see. All right, so I may have started noticing that my heart is maybe pumping very rapidly. And then all of a sudden, just as I hold my awareness on my heart, I become more peaceful. My heartbeat becomes more regular. And I can know that as my heart settles down into a regular synchrony, which we call coherence, right? Everything moving together, all of the rhythm of the heart being coordinated. As I notice that happening, what is happening in the rest of my body? What is happening to the muscles in my back and in my shoulders? What is happening to my thoughts? Because I know that everything that's happening in my heart is informing everything that's happening in my brain. And my brain is telling all the different pieces of my body whatever the message is there. So when my heart is at peace, and we can notice this, when my heart is synchronous and coherent, my thoughts are peaceful. I'm actually moving out of fear and anxiety, which is a form of fear, into love. We just spend a few minutes noticing that and being with that, being. All right, so we're changing our being from anxiety, even just normal, everyday, heightened emotion, may not be anything bad, into a more peaceful way of being ourselves. And so we hold that. And then, going back to what the Dalai Lama said about being happy, this really is happiness, is it not? Just this being in this one moment, which there is only this one moment, and being in peace and love. And when I am happy, I radiate happiness to all beings. And I can even create an intention that I wish all beings to be happy. And that's all we need to do is create the intention while we are in this place of peace and love in our heart. So we spend a few moments in this awareness of the synchrony of the heart and the brain and our intentions for peace and happiness and love for ourselves, knowing that this is the oneness of the divine. And as I am here, I release this to all beings, this love that is within me. And I invite you now to take one or two gentle breaths. Again, noticing the breath, awareness on the breath, noticing peace in our heart, moving in and out of us through our breath. And I invite you to open your eyes and come back into the room. Just shake your shoulders and just come back to physical presence, right? Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, shake your arms a little bit. And I don't know how long we spent on that, but certainly no longer than 10 minutes, I hope. And I'm saying to you that you could do this every day in the morning. Or you could even take a few minutes on your lunch hour and do this. And it doesn't have to be as extensive as what we did here. It's a very simple meditation. And you can listen to it on the replay, which will be in the newsletter next week and on YouTube. But as we celebrate World Kindness Day, which is Thursday, November 13th, this is a world celebration, I invite you at the very least to do it on that day, right? And to just be the truth of who you are, which is peace and is love. And that's all you need to do, because the rest of your day will unfold in beauty and in love. So thank you. I love you.
I never heard of World Kindness Day. How long has it been?
Irving just said to me he's never heard of World Kindness Day, and he asked me how long it's been around, and I don't know, but maybe Holly knows. 1996.
Oh, it's recent.
Well, relatively recent. Like 30 years ago. No, it wasn't that far back. It wasn't as far back as 1850, but 30 years, Yeah, okay. And, I talk about kindness a lot, and especially with Holly, she brought it to my attention, because I think it's an important value that we here at CCL as a community espouse. And sometimes we forget to be kind, starting with ourselves. So this is a reminder. Thank you. Okay, David. I'm back looking for David.
Grandma's raising a family or two, nurses caring for me and you, assembly workers with their power tools, young people striking at their schools. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are part of the web of life so dear. You are welcome here. Beavers building their river pools, oak trees keeping the forest cool, wolves out hunting to feed their cubs, soil microbes, nematodes and grubs. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. life so dear. You are welcome here. Farmers out in their sea of wheat, church choirs with their voices sweet, warehouse workers in nomad land, Navajo in the desert sand. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are part of the web of life so dear. You are welcome here. Those who struggle in a binary cage, those discounted for lack of age, those who link arms in the street, those who hold signs and stamp their feet. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are part of the web of life so dear. You are welcome here. Connections grow like roots in the dark to all life on earth, and we are just one part. Dandelions blooming twice a year, eagles gliding in the air so clear. Those who've fallen to despair, those who lift them out of their chairs. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are part of the web of life so dear. You are welcome here.
Thank you, David. Welcoming, that's a form of kindness, isn't it? Another expression of it. Paul.
Good morning. Please join me in the blessing of our offering in the bulletin. Thank you, God, for this abundance
That is mine to share.
I bless this gift and give it to Thee in gratitude and joy, knowing that as I give, I do receive.
Thank you, Henry.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Trip. Expressing gratitude and appreciation, deep love profound kindness, for these gifts and these tithes and these contributions to the health and the well-being and the vitality and the perfect oneness of this CCL community, knowing that the divine flows in, around, and through each one of us in every moment. And in that gratitude, please join with me in saying thank you, and so it is.
Thank you, and so it is.
Thank you. Okay.
So, as you know, one of my favorite parts of the service, if I can find the sheet. So I know there's one person that's here for the first time, and if she would like to stand, she can. If she does not want to, Denise, that would be you. So this prayer is for you. I think nobody else is here for the first time. Anybody on Zoom, put your hand up. So this is for you guys, okay? So you're just going to accept this prayer. And we're all going to turn around and raise our hands to you and accept. If you'll repeat after me, welcome to the Center for Conscious Living. We are a heart-centered spiritual community. We open ourselves to you in love. We recognize the perfection of God within you. We celebrate the joyous being that you are. You are a radiant point of light. We are blessed by your presence. Welcome home.
So, a few announcements today. Find them here. Yeah, so first, a note of thanks to all of you who are in service this morning, making this celebration of kindness able to happen here at CCL. So thank you to all of you. Reverend Paul and I were speaking the other day, and we're just talking about timing in our service, and I discovered that the thank yous go on for 10 or 15 minutes. So I decided, let's try shortening them and just expressing thanks to all of you who are in service. And we all know who you are, and we're very, very grateful that you're here with us. The media team, the setup team, you're all in here early in the morning, and our refreshment team is busy preparing coffee and goodies, and our beautiful altar, which Jody created today. And who did I miss? Somebody. Media team. You know, nothing happens without the media team. The ushers, yes, the ushers, thank you. So, and of course the music. Thank you, David, for joining us today. David is in Kansas City. He's a good friend of June and Marty, and they introduced him to me, and he has very graciously joined our musical team, and he's very much in sync with the ministry in terms of messaging. So I'm grateful that he is here with us today. All right, just very quickly, I had mentioned the Taizé service next week. Many of you may know that Taizé is a service that Reverend Marlene brought to CCL, and she did it because she was very interested in interspirituality, and every 4 years she would attend the World Parliament of Religions, where religions from all over the world come and celebrate oneness and unity. And it was at one of these conferences that she found out about Taizé, and so she brought it back here, and she worked very closely with Ginger Coyle, one of our musicians, and they started performing Taizé services periodically. We would have them, and so it just seems perfect to honor Reverend Marlene next week in memory with a Taizé service. And it's an interesting service next week because Ginger created this service. All right, she used to work in tandem with Marlene, but she did it on her own last year. Many of you know she went on tour on the West Coast, and she toured from Southern California all the way up to British Columbia. She performed at Agape. She started her tour at Agape, and she ended at Mile High in Denver. And there were various spiritual communities that she performed at in between along that journey, and her 2 children were with her. So it was quite an experience. She created this Taizé service for that tour, and so she performed it in these various places. And she hasn't performed it here yet, her home church. Isn't that interesting? So she'll be doing that in memory of Marlene next week. So I hope all of you can be here. You know, I invite you all to be here. It will be a wonderful day, and Marlene's beloved niece, Tanya, will be here with us as well. So, so that's that, and let's see what else. The gardening ministry. Yeah. We have a very active gardening ministry. As many of you know, also part of our agreement or our arrangement with St. Matthew Lutheran Church is that we would provide gardening services for the gardens. They have several gardens on the property, and they're not able to do it anymore. Their community members who are doing it aren't able to do it. So we stepped up and said, we'd love to do that. And Janine Blunt is a master gardener, so she's spearheading that effort. And Bob here is very involved in it. Reverend Paul has stepped up. He's now part of it. So in case you didn't know he was a gardener, well, he's a master cabinet maker. So he's going to be helping with, you may be a gardener too, I don't know. But he'll, there's a lot that goes into, you know, really maintaining these gardens. And Janine really has ideas and plans to create, you know, blossoms in the springtime, and just to create beauty, and possibly to create a vegetable garden. They have that big open field over there, so we're thinking about doing that. So there's a lot of creativity happening. If you're interested in joining the group, just let me or Reverend Paul know. Janine's not here today, but we'll be happy to include you in all of the announcements that go out. There is a meetup, the last meetup of the year is happening this Wednesday at 10 o'clock right here on these grounds. And if you're new to the gardening ministry, Janine will give you a tour of the gardens, and we're just going to do some light fall pruning in preparation for the winter. So, so again, contact me or Reverend Paul, or you can always contact the office if you don't have my contact information. What else do I want to tell you about that? That is it. Just a reminder, World Kindness Day, Thursday of this week, November 13th. And another event that's been happening the last few years is the Interfaith Service here in South Jersey. And it happens on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And there's an imam, and there's a rabbi, and there's 3 ministers that participate. And several of you have been there the last few years. And last year I spoke, and I'll be speaking again this year. So I really hope you'll come out and just give me support for representing CCL at this service. It's a short service. It's Tuesday, November 25th at 7 p.m. It only lasts an hour. It's brief because it's a holiday week. But then there's a repast after. So we're invited to bring food, but the food is just amazing. Because the facility itself, and it's going to be at Adath Emmanuel, which is in Mount Laurel this year. It travels to different facilities, but they help provide food as well. So it's a wonderful opportunity to meet up with other communities, and especially other communities of different faiths and traditions, and to come together in oneness. So I invite you to come, and the address and the information is in our newsletter. And if you don't get our newsletter, it's very easy to sign up. You can just check up on the back table there and sign your name and your email name, and you'll get our newsletter. Yeah. Virgie's saying she's going to be there. Thank you. Just a really quick note. The St. Matthew open house last week was so much fun, and thank you for being here and joining us. And it really was a wonderful testament to our partnership with St. Matthew. So we hope to, have more interactions with their community. It was a wonderful opportunity for us to meet many of the members of their community and for them to meet us, because they graciously opened up their building to us. And it happened very quickly in August, and they really didn't know us. Their pastor and their board were just very open to welcoming us. And but their community was curious about us, so we got to really meet them, have lunch with them, have Mr. Softy with them. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was really nice. So thank you all for being there. And I think check your newsletter, because there is the home energy saving opportunity with the solar-powered energy sign-up is still in force until the end of the year. And if you're not signed up for it, anybody can sign up for it through CCL. But electricity rates went up dramatically in May, and this opportunity to get your electricity through solar-powered services will reduce your electrical bill 31%. And I can tell you personally, my electrical bill is really calm and peaceful, and I feel very kind toward the world when I open my bill. So it's open to anyone in the community or outside of the community, your friends, your relatives. Check your newsletter, talk to June, talk to Marty, and oh yes, it's New Jersey. Anyone in New Jersey. So, right, good point. Just two other quick things. A reminder, daily prayer, Tuesday through Friday. I have live prayer. You're welcome to come in, and we pray together about anything you'd like to pray for. The link is in your newsletter. Just go into the newsletter, click on the link. I think the link is also on our website, but just come in. It's an opportunity for us to chat and talk together about whatever's on your mind and to pray. And the last thing is just a reminder about sustainability here at CCL. We're moving into the giving season, for nonprofits and churches, and we are going to be celebrating Giving Tuesday, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and that actually translates into our annual funding drive. So, you'll be seeing emails, and you'll be, seeing articles in the weekly newsletter, and I'll be talking about it. But that's talking about kindness. That's kindness to all of us, to ourselves, and to our community through sharing our financial abundance. So that's it for today.
We have a sign-up sheet, another opportunity to participate with St. Matthew Lutheran Church. It's a program that we participated in the last few years. It's the Friday before Thanksgiving. It's an opportunity to pack food at an organization called Farmers Against Hunger. A number of you have participated the last couple of years. Our time slot will be from 5 to 8 p.m. If you can only come for an hour or two, that's fine. And it's at the Farmers Against Hunger facility in Delran, which is on Creek Road. So if you have any questions, check with Serena and myself. And people from St. Matthew will be doing it as well. What's that? Friday the 21st. Friday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So the sign-up sheet will be in the back. If you sign up, we'll be sure to contact you and provide any further information about it.
Let's circle up. All right, let's circle up. Of course. Yeah. All right. Can you just give her the microphone for 1 minute? She wants to express gratitude. It's dead. Is that the only microphone?
Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. Most of you know me. I am Stephanie, and this is my husband, Angelo. And tomorrow is our 1-year anniversary from the stroke. So I just feel like I have some leftover tears from that day that just washed through me. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, oh, okay. I get it. So this is a safe place for me to have those leftover tears from that day, that time. So you've all supported me. Even on Zoom community, thank you so much, because when I couldn't come in for a long time, you guys supported me online, and you stayed on with me after and coached me and gave me support So I just wanted to say thank you so much. And he's doing amazing, so thank you guys. Can we start?
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Angelo. Okay.
All right, we ready?
Okay, so let's.
Let
There be peace.
peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with our brother in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me.
So can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. Marty, can you put some batteries in that microphone real quick? Okay, then we can. Not a problem. So let's take a nice deep breath. I'll get closer to you. Let's take a nice deep breath. Relaxing into this moment right here, right now. Feeling the gratitude, feeling the kindness that is here. Feeling the love. Giving thanks for this service, giving thanks for the talk that flowed through Reverend Christina, that carries us kindly through this week on wings of love and peace and kindness. Giving thanks for this community, giving thanks for this entity, this consciousness of CCL. Giving thanks for all the good and more good of the divine that flows to and through us always. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you. Okay. All right, is this on? It's on. Okay. So I know we will be in synchrony and coherence with this one. Please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
It is this thing called life. Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my feelings.
Life is in my feelings.
Life is in all of my activities.
Life is in all of my activities.
I receive it.
I receive it.
I share it.
I share it.
I am it.
I am it.
And I accept it.
And I accept it
How do I accept it?
just the way that it is.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
In accepting all of these gifts, we say yes. Thank you, everybody.